Are you or someone you know is making less than $50,000 a year? You can't afford a house, and I'm going to show you how to do that in this video. I will give you specific examples, links on how to calculate your mortgage, how much you can afford, how to pull your credit, understand taxes, interest, and principal, and how to get back those taxes in your tax returns by the end of the year. I'll also walk you through the process of applying for an FHA loan at a high level. I will also give you an expense tracking spreadsheet down in the link below, so you can track your expenses, budget, and maximize your savings. If I'll walk you through this entire process step by step, are you gonna give me a like and subscribe? You better, okay? I'm just kidding. There are approximately 40% Americans who make less than $50,000. And that is about 130,745,000 people in this country who make less than $40,000. And I used to be one of them. I've been on both sides of the coin. I know how it's like to live paycheck to paycheck. But here's the thing, with a bit of effort and a bit of savings, you too can own a house. And I'm going to show you exactly how. And I wonder why these YouTubers are talking about people who make $80,000, $90,000, $100,000, $150,000. That's not the majority of the American population, folks. But I think they don't care about you. But I care about you. I also work with Section 8 housing, where mostly a lot of low income or people who are disadvantaged, I should say, come and get affordable housing. So for the sake of this video, we're going to use $45,000 as the average income. We're going to use South and North Carolina as sample state, but you can apply this formula and this method any state, city, and zip code as you wish. Are you with me so far? So the first thing you want to know is know your budget, right? And I'm going to show you how to budget every single month. Second up, you want to know how much house you can afford. And for that, I'm going to show you a calculator so you can calculate yourself how much house you can afford. You have to also know your credit. And guess what? If you have bad credit, I have a perfect guy for you who can help you with credit. His name is Ryan. He's a guru on TikTok. He even has a course. I'll talk about it more in detail, but Ryan can help you fix your credit so you can afford the house of your dreams. I'll also drop a link for FHA lenders so you know what FHA folks work with. FHA stands for Federal Housing Authority. It's a government-sponsored program that you can leverage, and I'm going to show you how to leverage that in this video today. Lastly, but not least, I'm going to give you some amazing tips on how to get all the interest back that you're paying in this mortgage by the end of the year in your tax returns. And I'm talking thousands of dollars. I'm not saying a few $100s here and there. You can get thousands of dollars back in your tax returns. Now, here's a tool that I want you to look at. It's on nerdwallet.com, and I have the link down below. If you go to this tool and you plug in your monthly take-home pay, it will tell you exactly what your wants, needs, and savings should be. So knowing your budget is a 50-30-20 rule that I follow. 50% is your needs. What are your needs? Medical, dental, health, house mortgage, cars. All those are needs that you can't function without. And the 30% is your wants. You want to buy a nice candle like I have here, or you want to buy a pair of glasses, you want to buy table mats for your table, or any decorative thing in your house. Whatever that may be, that is your wants, right? You want it, you don't need it, but you want it, and you can save 30% for that. Now, remaining 20% you must put in savings. And if you follow this advice and you make $45,000 a year, your take-home pay will be roughly around $3,750 per month. And so subsequently, your 50%, 30%, 20% is shown on the screen, as you can see. If you follow my calculations, you should be able to budget and save in 2 years up to $18,000, which you can utilize then for your down payment when you go to house closing. How cool is that? There is a reason for this formula, folks, to follow that. Now, I personally will tell you that in my college days, when I used to make $20,000 doing 2 jobs, I was living off 80-20 or maybe 70-30 split. 70% I would just save or put in my investments, and the remaining 30 or 40% I would survive. Everything else I was able to save. I was very disciplined, but if you can manage it, put as much towards your savings and have as much down payment as possible so you can then have a lower monthly payment. Now, if you pay taxes on this $3,750 a month, then obviously those taxes will come off. But if you're on a 1099 like myself, then you don't have to pay all these taxes. You can change it to any way you want. You can do maybe 50-20-30, meaning 50% of needs and then 20% wants and then 30% savings, like I mentioned before. So you can do it many different ways to maximize your savings if you want to get in a house with that salary. So the traditional financing, or the debt to income ratio, should I say, for conventional loans is about 30-35%. But for FHA, it goes up to 43%, which would be $1,500 or $71 or so per month of your take-home pay, of your gross take-home pay, not net, but gross. This is also called the debt-to-income ratio, debt being your car payments, your credit cards, etc. And your income is obviously your income, your take-home pay. So you don't need that much. You need maybe $1,500 a month to be able to afford a house that I'm going to show you in this example. I'm also giving you some links to FHA.com and FHAlenders.com if you want to go and read up on how that process works. Now, there's a calculator on Google, which is obviously free, and I'm going to show you where it is. In fact, let's go there together. So in this mortgage calculator, if you plug in $230,000, down payment that we talked about, interest rate being 6.5 or so %, you're going to get around 1,454 mortgage payment, which is perfect because it's less than 43% that we talked about. That leaves you some room to maybe have some savings and some money in case you need for emergency. Now, you also want to add taxes to it, and I understand that. You can add taxes and HOA fees and everything else. But like I said, in the end of the video, I'm going to show you a tool, a calculator online that shows you if you file your taxes properly, how you can get back thousands of dollars of taxes in a tax return. Because now that you have a mortgage, the government wants you to own a house, and therefore they allow you to have these extra deductions for the home mortgage payments interest. So let's look at the graph here, and in this graph you can see this line at the top, the light blue line is the interest that you're paying. Now the line below, the deeper blue line or the medium blue line, is the interest, okay? And the last one at the bottom is the principal. Now your goal is to maximize this principal payments. That's why I'll talk about putting an extra $50 or $100 every month towards your principal. And you want to minimize the interest. Now, if you look at the mortgage calculator I was showing you before, you can see that you're paying almost $277,830 in interest. That's a lot of interest, okay? Which you can write off, by the way, and I'm going to show you how. So let's go back and show you how to save on taxes, okay? Here's a mortgage tax deduction calculator that I have pulled up in front of you. Now, the beauty of this calculator is that if you enter your mortgage amount, which we have here, $230,000, the term is 30 years, interest rate is 6.5%, federal tax, state tax, depending on which state you're living in. Guess how much money do you save every year? Almost $5,000, and this could be more if you were to use tax consulting service from AK, askakhow@gmail.com. So there you have it, folks. I'm going to drop a link of this mortgage calculator. You can plug in your numbers, how much your house is worth. It's a really handy tool to know. You want to tell your CPA, because CPAs are not expert in saving you taxes. You want to tell them, this is how much I can save. This is what the calculator is showing me. Please tell me how you can help me get all this money back. How cool is that? Now, here's another tip for you guys. This is nice and wonderful, but you also want to ask your lender to allow you to make tax payments separately. So what are property tax and the monthly tax? You want to pay it separately, not part of your loan. That will further lower your monthly payments. The reason you do that, because the lenders like to hold a lot of money in escrow, thousands of dollars in escrow to pay your taxes. When you can do it yourself, take it from me. Just follow this. There's a big theory behind this. Pay your taxes separately yourself. Tell them you just want to pay the P&I, principal and interest, and they'll comply. Now, next step is knowing and understanding the closing costs. Closing costs can add up to a lot of amount, right? Closing costs comprises of inspections, recording fees, title search, appraisal fees, boarding fees, underwriting fees, and on and on and on. But if you want to get around the closing costs, right, you can certainly ask the seller for something called seller concession. What is seller concession? Seller concession is nothing but asking the seller to pay the closing cost. Most likely, most sellers, including myself, would pay the closing cost because you want to sell the house instead of dropping the price of the house. So another point I want to make is that the rule that I showed you, right, if you're following the 50-30-20 or 50-20-30 rule, you should be able to save at least $750 every single month with this income. If you make $45,000, you should be able to save at least $750 plus a month every single month. And if you do that for 2 years, only 2 years, not 10, you should be able to save up more than enough money for your down payment. So that money should be approximately $18,000 $18,000. Imagine you can have $18,000 to buy the house of your dreams within just a few years if you follow the formula and the steps that I'm telling you about. So now that you know everything about savings, taxes, budgeting, you know where your credit stands and all this and that, you can now go to Zillow or Redfin and start looking for houses before you even contact a realtor. Why would you do that? Because why not? You want to be informed. You want to know exactly which zip, which state, which city you want to live in, where your dollar can give you the maximum value, and so on and so forth. So let's look for a house together on Redfin to see if we can find one. I like this particular house that I'm pulling up on the screen for you. This house is in the price range that we have, which is $230,000. This house has sufficient land. It has space to even add an addition. It has sufficient bedrooms for a starter house for any family. It's in a good neighborhood, and you can do the research like that. So now that we know that we can find a house in this price, now we're ready to apply for an FHA loan. And I'm going to walk you through that process. Now let me point out the FHA guidelines allows you to pay as low as 3.5% if you have good credit. But in this case, we're not going to need 3.5%. We're going to pay probably at least 6% of the down payment from the techniques that I've shown you vis-a-vis your monthly savings. How cool is that? So let's go to the FHA website together so we can see how to apply for an FHA loan. I'm going to go with you guys. Once you're at the FHA website, it's very simple. You can say FHA purchase, not refinance, start now. It will walk you through a bunch of screens. So if your credit score is 640 or if it's higher, you can move this meter, I believe, to the left side or the right side and continue and press continue. Now, what is the home value? As we talked about, it's between $230,000 or so. So we're gonna say that we're gonna leave it at this, okay? And then how much is your down payment? We're not putting 15% down, so we're gonna bring this backwards. Let's just say maybe make it I don't know. Let's make it 5% just for the sake of it, right? How much minimum down payment you can make? Yes, you can make 3.5%. So we're gonna proceed and say continue. Property description, we're going to say single family. Have you found a home? Yes, we have found a home through Redfin, as I showed you. How likely are you able to buy a phone? You can just pick any option. We'll just say in a few months. We'll continue. Have your spouses in military? You guys can choose yourself. I don't have that. Bankruptcy or foreclosures, we're going to say no. Can you verify your income? Yes, we can. We know we make $45,000 a year. No shame in my game. So late mortgage payments, none. Obviously you're renting. Continue. Search the city. Columbia, South Carolina. That's my city. And then you just enter your name. Okay. And then your address and city, and then you continue and see the results. So once you complete this information that I've shown you on FHA.com, then they will contact you, okay? They will contact you and they will walk you through the entire process, and they will also put you in touch with the lenders at FHAlenders.com if you want to check that out, okay? So now you know how to apply for an FHA loan. It's a very simple process. It sounds daunting, folks, but believe me, it's not that hard, and I know you can do it. So I would definitely make sure that you apply for this, follow the 50-30-20 rule or 50-20-30 rule to maximize your savings, and be focused, because a lot of these things take a lot of mental energy to get the kind of results that you want. But even in this market with the higher mortgage, you can afford a house if that's what your dream is, if that's what you want to do. I'm not saying you should buy a house right now because the market is pretty volatile right now. However, if that's what you want, you can get that house with the methods that I've shown you in this video. Just to recap, knowing your budget, knowing your credit, knowing how much you can afford, budgeting properly, saving properly, knowing how much taxes you're going to get, understanding principal, interest, and taxes you're paying, understanding all those things and being knowledgeable about this process will make you more powerful. Knowledge is power, folks. So if you have that knowledge, and credit is not a problem. I've already given you a guy who can fix your credit. So credit is not an issue, vis-a-vis my friend Ryan who can fix your credit. So you need tax help, credit help, drop us a line at askak@gmail.com. We'll take care of you. I also have a live stream coming up with Ryan talking about real estate and credit and people with credit issues. You're welcome to join us this Wednesday. It's the 16th of August. This Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. is when we're doing a live stream. We're going to take your questions. If you have any questions, you can ask us at that time. We want to make it easy for you guys. So don't let anybody tell you can't afford a house if you make less than $50,000. Yes, you can afford a house even in this market. There are many ways around it. I bought my first house, believe it or not, when I was a student. I bought a house through my landlord who did seller financing. There are many creative ways to buy a house. When there's a will, there's a way. So with that, I'm going to close this. Please support my small little channel. It's growing. It was at 5,000 last year. It was at 300 the year before, and now it's at 6,700 something. But I appreciate you guys listening to me. Drop me a comment if you have any questions. But my wish and my goal is that by next year, hopefully you guys have saved up enough money to buy your own house. And if you do, please come back and tell me, okay? With that, thank you very much and have a great day. Bye now.